Welcome back to the channel. I want to tell you a story about a rather frustrating experience I've had this week, so that if any of you find yourself in the same position, at least you'll know what the law is, where you stand, and what you might need to do about it. So here it is. Many of you will know that I love my barbecues, and what you might not know is I have 2 gas bottles to go with it, the second one being a spare, because if the first one runs out, I can seamlessly run onto the second one without interrupting the barbecue. So with the summer almost upon us, I was testing this bottle just a few days ago, and alas, you've probably guessed, it didn't work. The gauge was jumping up and down and it wouldn't release gas. Now, I've never used this since I bought it from Morrison's, so I don't know what the problem with it is. I am not a gas bottle expert, I just know it didn't work. I'm a consumer expert, I'm a consumer law expert. I know that I bought this as a consumer, I know that it doesn't work. But even that didn't stop me from having a frustrating experience, which I'm going to tell you about right now. So there's a number on the bottle to Ring Calor Gas that supply these bottles. Me thinking this might just be the quickest way of resolving this, called them up thinking they would just swap it over. Actually, what they said is they would need to pick it up and test it, and they wouldn't just deliver me a fresh one. So I'm not really surprised by that, but by the by. But they were a little bit vague about what happens if they do find a fault or if they didn't find a fault. Bearing in mind at this point that I've paid Morrison's a deposit for this bottle, because the way this works, if you don't know, is you pay a deposit for the bottle and you pay for the gas. When you bring the bottle back, you swap it for another one and you pay for the gas in the new one. So there's 2 fees, the deposit for the bottle and you pay for the gas. So Calor said we could arrange to collect it and test it, but we're a little bit vague about how that works and what happens, and they hadn't given me a date or anything. So instead I ring Morrison's. Now remember, I purchased it from Morrison's, so my contract is with Morrison's. That's the legal point to note in this story. To my pleasant surprise, they said yes, no problem at all. When we get a new delivery in, we will call you and you can come and swap it. Very pleased with that. This morning I got the call to say come and swap it. So I turn up to swap it, but the delivery driver from Calor is still there. She says take the bottle to him, he will swap it over. So I go to him and he just looks at me and says, I'll be there in a minute. 15 minutes or so later, he jumps down off the lorry, takes one look at the bottle and says, this is a used bottle, presumably implying that I'm trying to con them out of a bottle of gas, which is obviously ludicrous. He goes to the cage where they store the new ones, brought another one out and said, this is the weight of a new one. Compare the 2. So I picked them both up and they felt like the same weight to me. I don't know. They both feel around about 13 kilos to me. We didn't have any scales, but that was that. He then puts it back and disappears on the other side of the lorry. So I go back into Morrison's and the lady says, has he swapped it? And I said, no, he doesn't really seem interested in talking to me about it. Eventually he comes into Morrison's, which is where this gets interesting. He says to the lady, I don't think it's faulty. To which I say, well, I don't know what else to say. I bought it from here, it didn't work, it seems faulty to me. I can't use it because it won't release gas, so what would you like me to do? The lady suggested that he take it away as faulty. He then suggested that I contact Calor, and I have a moment of deja vu. So I said, well, I have spoken to Calor, and they said that they would have it collected and tested to be faulty. But frankly, my contract is with Morrison's. The lady then said that even if he takes it away, and I want the fresh gas bottle out of the crate, that I would have to pay a new deposit and for the new gas. To which I obviously said that I've already paid the deposit on the bottle that he will be taking away, which should surely act as the replacement bottle for the one that I'm taking away with me. And so this sort of left us in a bit of a stalemate for the next 15 minutes while she served another 6 or 7 customers. Eventually, to her credit, she did allow me to take the new bottle with me, but also said that if Calor found no problem with the original bottle, that I'd have to pay the new deposit and for the new gas, because she said my contract was directly with Calor. Obviously I disagreed because my contract is with Morrison's. This was a point I don't think I was going to get agreement on, and it's sort of the point of this video. Because if you buy something from a shop, your contract is with the shop. Not with their supplier, not with the supplier of the bottle, not with the supplier of what's in the bottle. But as I said, I don't think she will agree with me on that point, but it doesn't really matter. That is what the consumer law says. If you have a problem with the product that you've bought from a shop, it's the shop that should sort it out. And to know that many of you have problems like this, because many of you have emailed me about it, and I simply don't get time to respond to all of you, which is why I do some of these videos to try to cover off all of these in one go. So if you bought something from a shop, it's the shop that needs to sort it out. So this one of mine was left in a bit of a stalemate where they didn't really agree with me, but that's the legal position. It is the shop that is responsible for it, and I just felt that it could have been resolved without all of the frustration. But anyway, I hope you found that useful, and thank you for watching.